In this unit, we will talk about parenting styles and attachment throughout the whole life course. To study children's attachment, researchers developed a task called the strange situation. Children and their main caregiver are brought into the lab, and they play with each other for a short while. Then the parent will leave for a short time. After a few minutes, the parent will return. They will observe children's responses and code them into different styles. You can see the video in this link. Based on children's responses, researchers have coded them into three main styles of attachment. The first one is secure, which is around 60% of babies. So the baby will feel distressed when their parent leaves, but are quickly comforted when they return. The next one is avoidant. This is when the baby will not feel distressed when their parent leaves, and also avoidant the parent when they return. For the anxious resistant one, they will feel very distressed when their parent leaves, but are not easily calmed down when they return. For an additional type called the disorganized type, it's a mixture of avoidant and anxious. So the baby does not have a predictable pattern of attachment. They sometimes want attachment but sometimes don't. They have fear of rejection but also have difficulty with close relationships. So in overall, they have limited ability to maintain friendships when they grow up. Why do children differ in attachment style? This is due to differences in their experiences with their caregiver. For secure baby, the caregiving that they received is responsive. Children will learn that their caregiver and other people will help and support them when needed. For avoidant babies, caregiving tends to be unresponsive. Children will learn that their caregiver or other people will not help or support them when in need, and thus they do not learn to depend on others. For the anxious resistant babies, caregiving tends to be inconsistent. This leads to an anxious resistant bond because children have learned that their caregiver will not reliably help them when they are in need, and thus they cannot depend on them. There are a number of benefits of a secure attachment style. You are more likely to develop stronger friendship with others. You are also more likely to develop positive self-concept, which is self-confidence. You also have more advanced emotional understanding and can develop conscience early, which is moral development. You are also more likely to persist on challenging tasks and then remain secure during your adulthood. Although insecure children are more likely to develop negative social development, there are solutions to counter this. For example, it can be refined by having secure attachment with other adults like teachers, coaches, or through forming secure intimate relationships with others. Before we move on, I would like you to spend a few minutes reflecting on your own early childhood attachment style. So think about what style of attachment bond did you form with your parents? What kinds of experiences may lead to this attachment style? And do you think this impacted your later relationships? Think about these questions. After we have talked more about attachment styles, we will move on to parenting styles. Parent and child relationships do change across time, and there are four major types. Parenting styles arise from the ways parents resolve conflicts that occur during development stages. The two broad factors are responsiveness and expectations. For authoritative parenting, parents tend to be high in responsiveness and also having reasonable expectations. This is the most preferred type. For uninvolved parenting, parents tend to be neglectful and not interested in their child. For permissive parenting, they are spoiling their kids and give them excessive freedom. For authoritarian parenting style, it's like the helicopter parent, dictating relationship and being unresponsive and cold. As children progress towards adolescence and getting older, the parent and child relationship will enter a period of co-regulation, where the parent and the child both come to recognize the competency and autonomy of each other, and they will tend to rebalance the authority relations. So I remember the time when my teacher told me that she allowed her son to call her first name. So this is when co-regulation occurs. Up to this point, we mainly talked about parent-child relationships. While they are important in children's development, they are not the only source of relationships in child's life. Peer relationships also play a major role. Social interaction with other kids, like engaging in unstructured play, allows children to explore and understand the world together. It's been shown to foster cognitive development. Unstructured play is to randomly play without any predetermined rules or guidelines, such as free drawing or playing the sandbox. So during these experiences, friendships could be developed and enhanced over time. Relationships between peers also pose complex challenges. Peer rejection can provoke behavioral problems like aggressive behaviors. Bullying and conformity pressures and also social comparison could be also challenging. These experiences and relationships build different social and emotional skills, but they can help lay the foundation for managing the stresses in adult life. As children get older, the relationships that they form with others become more intimate. This is also when their gender identity becomes more stable. If you could recall in Piaget's theory, the pre-operational stage, children are egocentric, that is, not being able to take the perspective of others. But this also applies to adolescents. For example, a 15-year-old with a very small pimple on her face might think that it is incredibly large and visible. So they may have an imaginary audience. This is to believe that the person is under constant observation by others. They may even have personal fable. This is to believe that they are special and unique. Then in adulthood, some adults will develop a style of attachment called romantic relationships. Individual differences in adult attachment may reflect their childhood attachment style. The percentages of adults falling into each of the three categories is similar to those for children. So for secure, it's around 60% and 20% for the other two types. Now I would like you to pause and think about your adult attachment style. Do you think the childhood attachment style that you had is the same now? Attachment and dating are highly linked with each other. Secure children not only develop into secure adults, their couple is more likely to be secure as well. So there are different reasons to explain this. First, secure adults are more likely to be attractive to people. So they tend to be kind, caring, trustworthy, and understanding of others. Second, secure adults are more likely to create security in their partners, so their relationships are more enduring. And based on the emotion contagion theory, a person's emotions and behaviors can influence the emotions and behaviors of those around them. So this explains why a couple's attachment styles are so similar. Previous research found that your attachment style may influence your overall social functioning. So if you are secure, your relationships are more satisfying and enduring. You are less likely to experience conflict and are more likely to support each other during adversity. Our attachment style and experience of relationships are critical in broadening our social understanding. This is to understand our own and also infer other people's mental states, like emotions, intentions, and desires. Social understanding is formed quite early. Even infants are aware that other people have different mental states. Infants will engage in social referencing, so the baby may look to the parent's face when being with an unfamiliar person or situation. If the mother looks calm, the infant will receive the cue that the situation is safe. This is a video on social referencing. The baby will check his mother to understand whether the situation is dangerous or not. Theory of mind is to understand how mental states affect people's behavior. Children may start to develop theory of mind at around 18 months, but it takes time to be fully developed at the age of 3 to 4. After you have watched the video, you will see children with an underdeveloped theory of mind cannot understand Snoopy's mind. Now let's move to understanding personality development. A child's temperament is partly determined by genes, but are also influenced by the environment. A fussy baby may receive more harsh parenting practices compared to an easygoing baby. So personality is the combination of temperament and experience, and it relies on a good fit between the child's temperament and the environment. So what do we mean by a good fit? So for example, if a highly outgoing child is being born to a family that prefers to a sedentary lifestyle, this wouldn't be a good fit to the child's needs and growth. But personality can be refined over time through good experiences with others. So with adequate parental support, an infant who cries often may become less likely to cry when receiving good care and support from their parents. A child's social and emotional competence is also developed through the biological and environmental influences. For example, conscience is the development of moral sense. It emerges from responsive relationships that motivate young children to respond to others' needs and requests. It is reinforced by a good temperament, which is the biology part, and a good fit between parents' ability to teach them these skills, so this is the nurture part. Gender schema is also developed by the interaction between biology, hormones, and also nurture, the social learning from others. So what clothing are appropriate to be dressed and what constitute maleness and femaleness are determined by the environment. In this video, we have talked about different parenting styles and attachment. In the last video in this series, we will talk about aging and then death.